Welcome to the board onboarding process. This is Paul Kachuris. It indicates here that we've got a number of people, about approximately 20 of them on. Before we begin, I'd like to share with you that you are all on mute. And if you have any questions, what I'd like you to do is to go to the panel on your right and submit the question and just put to me, and we will be able to read it and respond to any of the questions that you have with regard to the contents that we're going to be dealing with. The very first thing I'd like to do is basically say that Dale and I are both going to be on the call, as well as I believe Scott Shive's on the call from a marketing standpoint. So we'll be making various comments back and forth with regard to the various issues and questions that would come up. First of all, I'd like everyone to log into your AME.org so that we can walk through. I think you can see my screen at this point in time. I would like to make sure that everybody's fully aware of getting to the board documents library. So if you would go to the screen. If you can follow me, I'll try to be. Sometimes I get a little too quick on the screen. I apologize for that. I don't want to get too busy. The drop-down menu goes to the board of directors, and you'll see us. There we go. As soon as we go to the board of directors, that's just what I need is my computer to start acting up, right? Okay, why didn't we not go to board of directors? There we go. You'll see the access to AME board documents library. If we all click on here, you'll notice that it'll call for you to log in. At this point in time, you do put in your email address. And your passcode. This will get you directly to the documents on the board reference library. If anybody has any, if anybody's having any problems, please send me a little note, and we can make sure that we clarify that as we begin. Okay? First thing we'd like to take a look at here is I'm going to do an overview of the board reference library, the topics that we have, and then we'll begin to get into some of the specific details of the library itself. You will notice that each one of our KRAs, people-centric leadership, enterprise excellence, innovation, as well as manufacturing as a desirable career, are all have categories that all have folders, if you will, on the library. If you look at each one of these, you will find the operational plans and the status reports. I apologize at this point in time, the status reports that we have from the board meeting, recent board meeting, have not been uploaded, and that they will be up there by the end of today. So you can look for those, but you can see they're all dated. You can get an update on those. As we begin to move down the categories, you'll see management team. All of the documents in the management team are there with regard to the meeting minutes. We also have, you say, the 2014 marketing plan has been uploaded. So you'll see you're going to see 3 months worth of management team minutes. We'll take a closer look at that later. Large, we have the minutes from the very large group operations, what's going on there. Membership information for board and contact. All of our calendars, regional events calendars, as well as any call-in numbers and office information. General information is another category, and you can see here that we have a variety of information with regard to our consortia, our templates, our workshop seminars, etc. All are on that category. Organizational structure. responsibilities of headquarters, our committees, our mission, vision, core values that we're going to be going over in a minute with Dale. And then we get into our governance category, code of conduct, bylaws, alliances, the nominating processes, operational management, our strategic vision and plan, and then we move into financial with all of our financial type information. And the last section we have here, the next section is the regional boards, all of our categories here with minutes, agendas, and various information presentations and updated activities are presented here. And then we're going to get into our performance metrics, dashboard, scorecard, regional event activities. Okay, that's basically a quick overview of the categories with regard to our documents library. And at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to Dale, who is going to talk more specifically about our governance, mission, vision, and where we're going as an organization. I got that here somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah, Paul, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction. And I just want to thank the group that's on the line for your participation and your service to AME. And what we have, you know, the reason we started this process, actually we had our first one last year, was there never really was a formal onboarding process that we had, and we didn't have really the resource library that you currently are looking at easily accessible. And so as we start building this out, I think it's important for you to know what's here and what Paul is going to be going over with us, and it's going to be a valuable resource for folks going forward. You can find a lot of the activities and information that many people have questions about from this board document section. So the first thing I wanted to do is just to revisit our vision, mission, and core values. And I would say that at the core, and we'll see this in a minute, back all the way to 1985, there's been a central focus around manufacturing. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago that we revised a vision to have a bit of a more external focus in terms of a greater purpose for AME. And our vision is a manufacturing renaissance driven by people-centric leadership coupled with enterprise excellence. And it really captures this notion that we are a part of a bigger movement and responsibility in terms of manufacturing, and that we recognize that both leadership and enterprise excellence are key to that, and we have an important role to play there. And then our mission to inspire commitment to enterprise excellence through experiential learning by bringing people together to share, learn, and grow. And to be honest with you, when I look at this, the thing that sticks in my brain in terms of elevator speech or just a quick summarization of AME, is the share, learn, and grow. It's what attracted me to AME. It's what brings other people here. It's really the kind of the magic ingredient to all of this. And core to that are these core values. Now these haven't changed. Really the mission has stayed constant over a number of years. But the core values, starting with volunteerism, and each of you are here as volunteers. And I think that volunteer spirit and passion is really what separates AME from other organizations. It is practitioner focused. This is about applied learning. It's about sharing that learning, and I think that it's about access to folks that have those experiences. And coupled with that is this integrity and trust. I think that the openness that we have within the community of AME is really underpinned by the fact that people are willing to share and to open their doors, and then in turn we have to honor that with integrity and trust that's been given us by being able to have access. And then passion for excellence, as I mentioned, I think that this mission that we have in terms of share, learn, and grow, and our kind of passion for enterprise excellence really is the engine for the work that we do. And then there's just this engaging and welcoming, that we all play a role and we're all a face for AME when it comes to giving a helping hand and welcoming people and engaging them as they kind of continue on their journey in enterprise excellence. So those are the kind of the core, the vision, mission, core values that we're aligning around. And Paul is going to go over in a little bit our key result areas, that those areas, and we can talk a little bit and answer any questions that you may have there. But he's going to go over the areas that we have in leadership, enterprise excellence, manufacturing as a desirable career path. And so those areas are really in response to this vision and mission. So what I wanted to do next, Paul, if you pull up the code of conduct, just at least click on the page, and I'm not going to read this, but one of the things that we're required to do, and you as either regional or the national board members need to have signed one of these documents. And so I'd encourage you, if you haven't yet, to read through this and sign this and return it to Paul. It's a requirement basically for us to maintain our tax status, and it's also, I think, reinforces kind of our operating principles, if you would, in a single document. And you can see if this goes back to 1985, when we were first incorporated. And it's interesting that, you know, as we have kind of massaged and worked on more of an external vision, but the mission's still core. And in that first paragraph, it talks about, all the way back in 85, inspire a commitment to global enterprise excellence through shared learning and access to best practices. And I think, simply put, that's what AME has been about for the last 30 years. So that hasn't changed. So on this, some of the things that it describes in terms of conflict of interest, one of the key things, and this is where it starts getting into some of the tax-exempt aspects to this, is that as board members, we have the ability to influence some of the folks that we invite in and we pay and so forth. And basically, it's saying that we're going to handle that with integrity, and we're not going to do this for personal benefit. And to that point, it also talks about, and we do have AME members that present seminars, do work, get paid, but that's done above board, and it's done with the knowledge of the board, it's done with the knowledge of the audit committee. And if there appears to be a indiscretion in that area, it's our responsibility as members to notify the chair of the audit committee or the chair of the AME board and make that known. So that in part is the integrity and trust in terms of our core values. So read that, and if there is anything that you should see that comes up that compromises that, we want to know about it. In terms of, let me see here, what else? I think that the key in terms of the last page, or next to the last page, in terms of statement of ethics, is that we, bottom line, want to have high standards, and we want to represent ourselves well, and in doing that, we don't want to act disrespectful towards other organizations. So I think AME brings something unique, and we don't need to be, talking down about other organizations that may be even in a competitive position with us. We want to emphasize the things that make us unique and strong as an organization. So I think that just taking the high ground is really the main theme there. And I think the last thing that I want to mention on this, and it gets back to the whole trust thing, is that as we do things, and this could be involved in tours of other organizations at our conferences or regional events, and it's about, we must maintain a level of confidentiality of information that we receive. So people are willing to open up their organizations to us, and we need to treat that with respect and confidentiality so that we don't cause problems for future visits and compromise our position to be able to gain access and be able to further our mission of to share, learn, and grow. So if you would, if you haven't already, read through this document, get it signed, send it off to Paul, and take a look at the vision, mission, core values. They're also posted there. Maybe you can print them off, but as we represent AME, we should have that in mind when people are asking us, what is it, what makes you unique, and how do you fit in the overall landscape of manufacturing. So that's kind of my intro, and then I'll turn it back over to Paul for him to kind of lead through a couple of the other key documents that we've got.
Thank you, Dale. Has anybody got any questions with what the Dale just went over? Please type them in and submit them, and we'll be more than happy to handle them as we go through the rest of the documents. So right now indicates that we have approximately 26 people online listening to our little discussion. I will go back to the our main page again. And I think at this point in time, we're going to go back to the management team. And I think we're going to open up the minutes activity report for 2014. I think this is a document that pretty much gives you a really good update on what we're doing as an organization. This document comes out as with the dashboard, as well as the scorecard and our regional activity. Comes out monthly at the middle of the month. And you will see here, as typical in our February report, a report from Mr. Galena on alliances, specifically what is going on with regard to our initiative, to organization of our alliances, reinforcing those, adding new ones. Michael Bremer with regard to our awards program, specifically where we are. Burgess Oliver, our champions. Keith and our consortia. Tony had nothing to say with regard to our large group, our CST, but he is moving very strongly with regard to organizing more events of conferences and symposiums for us. Mark Preston has got a very nice app for our awards program that he's working on. Mark Lewis with our financials. I do a little quick overview of what's going on with regard to headquarters as we move through here. Innovation, large groups with Cheryl. Maria-Elena Stouffer is doing our leadership, people-centric leadership, which is really a very aggressive program to spread the word and to engage our employees in terms of the process of achieving excellence, running a number of different sessions in conjunction with Barry Waymiller. Scott Shive will also notice on we have a complete marketing plan for 2014 in our library. Nancy talks about our education and training. Manufacturing is a desirable career. Glenn Marshall's heading that up. We have a number of issues going, a number of great opportunities going with that initiative, talking about scholarships for kids who are interested in going into manufacturing. We have an Adopt a School program, which is also focused on cultivating a manufacturing as a desirable career. I believe at this point in time we've got probably close to 13 or 14 schools that have been adopted. We're looking to spread that throughout the country. We also have a Vet Strong program where we're orienting organizations as to how they can understand the competencies of our veterans, as well as translate those competencies into the needs of the manufacturing community. We've had a number of Vet Strong seminars thus far and have a number of them planned as well. In addition to that, we're going to be addressing some of the gaps. Change the color scheme of the windows. I don't think I want to do that. Do you want to? No. Okay. In addition to that, we are addressing the skill gap with regard to the unemployed individuals who are out there, and also the needs of our manufacturing community by having a job board that'll be up and running in the next 30 days. We'll also have a e-training for technical training, CMC operations, welding, things of the sort, close to 400 different courses. So what we're trying to do is say, okay, here are the jobs, and if you're short on some of the skills, here's some of the ways that you can improve your skills in preparation for interviewing and qualifying for those jobs. So Glenn is a part of the Manufacturing as a Desirable Career, has got quite a number of activities going on in that arena. Mick Wills has got the regions going very well, along with Richard. Our regions are getting very active in terms of a number of different events up there, and basically Mick's desire is to have much more of a strategic focus on the regions as we go through a lot of changes with the organization. And that we'll cover more specifically some of the things that Mick wants to cover later on in the program. And then we got Bill Baker with regard to Target, and also, of course, Ellen with our update on how we're doing with our Jacksonville community. So this is the management update that comes out monthly. Again, it's the source document for you to understand what's going on in the organization. Any questions on that, please jot or send them in, and we'll go from there. As we move down the curriculum here, you can see large groups. Cheryl has got some very strong initiatives. Her objective is to expand the activity, the participation of your large groups beyond that of our conference. We're saying we want to do a better job of serving the large groups and their daily needs, much less their once-a-year needs at the conference. So her whole plan is to reach out to large groups on a more active basis and to say, what are some of the areas that you need some help on? Do we have some of the tools to help you with regard to some of your problems? And we're in the process of solidifying our activities to achieve that type of an objective for large groups. In addition to that, we'll be reaching out to potential large groups. These are individuals, organizations that run from anywhere from 15 to 25 participations in our conference. These are groups that understand that, well, they will grow into a large group, and how can we help them do that in a number of different ways. Membership information, that's pretty self-explanatory. Board contact information. One of the things I wanted to point out also is the calendars that we have. We have our, I'm going to go to our management and board meeting calendar. I want to show this to you because this is a pretty critical document. This is what tells us throughout the year what is going to be taking place from a management team and a board standpoint, and you ought to be aware of it. This gives us, those of you who are on various types of committees, this tells us what the calling numbers are, the dates of some of our committees, our regionals, executive committee, It also brings in the spring conference, location, timing, and puts it all together into one document so that we have a quick reference on these upcoming meetings. I guess we're doing all right because I have not had one question yet. Oh my goodness, what did I do? Did I do that wrong? Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, Paulie is not exactly what you would call technologically advanced here, so if you'll bear with me for a minute, I will bring us back onto the website where we were.
This is Jerry.
Yes.
Actually,
yes, Jerry.
there is one question that came in is for the code of conduct that Dale was speaking about earlier. Is there a one-time signing, or does this need to be annually or biannually?
That needs to be annually.
This is an annual event.
Okay, thank you for that. And then the other comment is that that we want to mention that Jack McClellan is the chair of the audit committee.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. Those are the questions we have up to date.
Thank you for that, Jerry. Apparently I'm not seeing the questions, so whatever questions come up, you would just interrupt and bring them up. I certainly would appreciate it.
Surely.
And I will try not to mess up this computer again, which is my typical. These little fat fingers of mine just don't work very well on a keyboard. I'm sorry about that, gentlemen and ladies. All right, where were we? We're moving through our calendars. We've looked through the calendar. General information. We have some overview presentations that can be used by any of the board members or who we are as an organization, give you pretty much the basics. We have some stationary concepts here. Let me do something here. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. We have some stationary contests, if you will, templates that you can use when you're functioning as representative of AME. We have our consortia target maps. We'll be building our consortia organizations as well. Award lists, workshops and seminars, and basically annual conference information. Okay, why can't I go in? Right, okay, here we go. You know what? Okay, let's go back to normal. From an organizational structure standpoint, I'd like to bring up the headquartered organizational chart. This will show you all of the responsibilities of everyone at headquarters. We've added a couple of new people here that you ought to be make sure you're aware of. In addition to our normal crew, where now Brooke is the head of our registration and handling all registrations, whether it's conference as well as regions and champions. We have Jerry Strohmeyer, who is heading up our education training program coordinator. She is the one that's on the horn right now and has set up all of our webinars as well as our award programs as well as our community of practice and is launching our new query process, which is available at this point in time. As we all know, Burgess took over our champions operation, and then we still have Wendy, Maureen, Nancy with us. But a new addition in social media that a lot of you heard is Jody Talley, who's our new social media publications manager. This is a quick review. One of the suggestions that came up, and we haven't done it yet, but we will, is we will put pictures to these names. So I put that in here so that you can actually see what the staff members look like. And we'll be adding two other closely associated staff members, Amy Powers, who is our contracted IT person who's very much involved in our redesigning of our website, as well as Jim, I forgot his, oh my God, handling our sponsorship. I forgot his last name now, but he'll be in there. Jerry, can you remember what Jim's last name is?
McCambridge.
McCambridge, thank you very much. All right, so we'll be adding Jim to the list as well. Another issue, another one here that I think is important for everybody to have a pretty good idea about is the association committees. We have a number of committees with regard regard to AME. This gives you a pretty good look at all of the committees that we have and who is on the current committee. If somebody's on the line right now that thinks that they are on a committee that I haven't listed or are not on a committee that is listed, we're always looking to update this because this is a very changeable list. It changes rather quickly, so we want to maintain it as up to date as possible. But this tells us exactly all of the activities that are going on. There are a couple of committees not on here that we will add, and that is our awards committee is not on here, which we will be adding that shortly as we update it, as well as our large group advisory group. We have a history of the organization, which is how we got started, where we went. I would suggest you look at that. Dale has talked about the code of conduct very detailedly, and I totally agree with him. We look forward to everybody signing those and getting them as soon as possible. Our bylaws, our alliances, as well as our membership nomination process. How do we nominate? You will see a number of policies throughout this that will tell you what our processes are for governing the organization. Financially, you can see our cash flow. This is the guiding financial document that we use that is presented at all of our meetings, and basically illustrates the cash flow situation of the organization, which is really what we're all about. And you can see us compared to a number of other years as we begin to move through the year. And you can see where we are right now. We're pretty much consistent with what we've done in the last few years from a cash flow standpoint. In addition to the cash flow, though, we also have financial records with regard to our audits, as well as any number of other elements in our budgetary plan, and it's very specifically detailed. I'm not going to go through it. You can look at it, and if you have any questions, obviously give us a call. One of the things I wanted to go over is the expense policy. Expense policy for everybody is pretty self-explanatory, but there's a couple things that ought to be noted. All of the management team expenses, all of the committee expenses are approved by the head of the committee. And the head of the committees are all approved by, on the management team, are approved by me. In addition to that, all board members' expenses are approved by Mark Lewis, our Vice President of Alliances, our financial director, executive committee director. So they should be sent directly to Mark. I will tell you this, that financially a policy is that anything over $500 from a travel standpoint, or our travel agent has to be approved by the headquarter office. So if you're traveling, we'd like you to minimize the cost as much as possible and get your arrangements done as early as possible. That helps from a financial standpoint. But if it has to go over $500, then I will look it over and approve it. And I haven't had too much of a problem those days, but that is the policy from a travel expense standpoint. Regional boards. We have a council headed up by Mick Wiltz, as well as Richard Leibowitz, who runs a council. You can see right here that we have a portal. We are going to be developing separate sections in the portal for each of the regions so they can maintain their documents. You can see the council agenda and minutes. The most recent one, we have a call with the President's Council every month. And at that point in time, we cover a number of different issues on helping them achieve their goals for the year as we begin to go on. Any questions you may have or challenges, you should get to the President so they can bring it up at the meeting. We have a regional board governance policy, which is really designed to guide operations in the regions. Again, not to tell them what to do, but to give some basic consistency of framework with regard to what is going on. So that is pretty well spelled out here in this governance policy. Again, we don't have to go into it very specifically, but you can read it and send in any questions you have with regard to what it is. And the other thing about the regions, we have a most frequently asked questions. This is something that if you're new in the region and I would go through these frequently asked questions before you ask the question to make sure that if there's something that you have, it's probably covered there. This was done by some of our new regional board members. When they came on, they said, I really would like to know ABCD. We collected all these questions and we put them down there. So that's a good reference document for those individuals who are new to our regional operations. I'm going to go through a couple things that Mick Wills apologizes. He was going to be on the call. He cannot make it, but he did give me a laundry list of things to make sure I covered with everybody to make sure that that his thoughts with regard to regional activity were covered. I've covered the expense policy. I would tell you that the national board, what Mick would like to have is if the president cannot make the national board meeting, he'd like to have some individuals who are willing to step in and represent the region at that point in time. So if that's something you're interested in doing, please get a hold of Mick and let him know. He also would like to see you do a face-to-face meeting with the presidents, the heads of your regions, to really get comfortable with what's going on. We do a lot of stuff virtually, so we like to make sure we're personal. So set up a meeting with your regional president and get to know him, and he or she can answer any questions that you might have. One of the things I wanted to point out too from regional event is you'll notice on the bottom of the sheet here is the regional event worksheet. This is new. This has been revised this year as well. It needs to be, number one, completed completely. It cannot be loaded on the website unless it's completed completely. Number two, it needs to be in 8 weeks prior to the event. And this is done not for our purpose, but for your purpose on a successful event. We need to give it enough time so we can promote and effectively market these events to get maximum exposure so we can maximize the participation. And if you can get it in prior to 8 weeks earlier, that's even better. I know the Southwest region, talking to Richard Leibowitz, I think he had all of his events ready to load in last November, which was great. The earlier the better. It just gives you a better opportunity to maximize participation in your events. And you know what? Once you set it in, if you're running an event, follow it up and take a look at it online to make sure it was posted effectively and there wasn't something that didn't quite get through the way you wanted it to get through. If there's a problem, you come right back to Brooke and she can make some revisions immediately to correct anything that wasn't put on the way you wanted it to put out. You ought to reach out to other marketing groups, other groups with regard to other regions, with regard to marketing, and do some benchmarking. We are establishing a marketing task force within the regions to talk about how we can more effectively get the word out on the various events. Use Nancy for some ideas, event ideas. Nancy Weiler, who's our Director of Education and Training, has got all the data along with Jerry on the events, on how well they're attended, as well as the quality level and responsiveness of the participants. And they can provide some guidance when you're designing and looking at strategizing as what events you should offer, what events you shouldn't offer. He said he wanted to talk a little bit about discounts on Jacksonville. All board members going to Jacksonville do not pay a full range. I believe this year it's like $800 for a board member, and that's basically just to cover $795 actually, if I remember right. That's just basically to cover the basic costs of the complete week in Jacksonville. So you will not have to pay the full registration rate. As a thank you, we want you to cover some of the basic costs. Look for backup volunteers to help you with regard to being a vice president. Play a leadership role in your rate, and update. And make sure that when your information, your personal information, is correct on the website. Maureen is in an ongoing quest to make sure that we have accurate board member information and management team information on the website. And things change. Please let her know what has changed. I also would appreciate a nice picture of yourself so that we can show everybody what you look like. Preferably, I don't need your entire torso. We could probably go fine with just your head so that we can put that on the website and make sure it can recognize you at any of the events that we would look at. That pretty much covers the region. I'd like to go through the scorecard a little bit here. Our 2014 scorecard. Here we go. It's coming. Yes.
Really quick, just so that we just have a couple of questions for you and Dale.
Go right ahead.
And one is on the back on the code of conduct. And the question is, can a list be sent to the presidents on who did not sign as of a certain date for the code of conduct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then the other question is that now that everyone understands that this document needs to be signed annually, the question is, if so, are we to track and initiate this, or will an AME staff member send us a reminder?
An AME staff member will send out reminders to those who have not submitted their code of conduct.
Okay, great, thank you. And then two more questions. One is, for a new director in AME, what would you suggest to get more involved in AME overall organization?
So one of the things I would suggest would be to, as you look at the committees that are active, I'm sorry, it sounds like a lot of feedback for some reason, but we've got the 4 committees, large groups, and some work that's going on. That if you look at those lists and contact some of those chairs, that would be an opportunity.
Great. And then in addition, the question is, are there any efforts in engaging minorities in board, in the board and activities?
We had that discussion at the last board meeting, and we will be reaching out to a number of female and minority organizations to develop direct alliances with them. One of the first steps is Women in Manufacturing, which we will be sponsoring coming up this fall. But we'll also be looking at our minorities organizations and cultivating that as well, for board positions as well as committee roles.
I'm sorry for the feedback, but I'd also add that we're very interested in attracting and engaging new members that are millennials and just starting their career in manufacturing as well.
Okay, great. And then, Paul, since you were mentioning about Jacksonville, another question came in. How do directors register for conferences and events at the discounted rate? Is there a discount code?
Check with Brooke on it. Yes, there will be a discount code for board members. You can get a hold of Brooke here or email her, bkachuris@ame.org, and she'll be providing that with you.
Great, thank you. And that's the questions that we have in so far. Thanks.
Thanks, Sherry. A quick look at our operational scorecard. You can see here where we've got our specific goals for 2014. You also see that we've got a 3-year track record of what we've done in the past that we continue to look at. And the year is early, so I wouldn't expect us to, we're pretty much on track on everything we're doing with regard to corporate memberships as well as individual memberships. And then as we move down, participation, you can see that we track not only participation but the percent paid with regard to our conferences as well as our regional events and basically our goals, which will be 22 per event with our regional activities as well as our webinars. You can see also that we're really increasing a tremendous amount of participation activity. Our goal is to continually increase at a 10 to 20% rate participation in our activities, and we are on track to be doing that through the years. You can see right here that our quality levels are remaining at a reasonably high rate. We're over 4 on pretty much everything we do, with the exception of our new operations, which is our webinars. Our webinars aren't right up there yet, but we announced those. We started those last year. And so as we continue to refine and improve those, we expect those to get up in the 4+ range as well with regard to our quality scores. Home team, we do evaluate our home team satisfaction every year. You can see that's in the 4+ range as well, and we continue to work on improving all those aspects of satisfaction from our employee standpoint. Our consortias are looking at 7. We're looking at a total of 9 this year. We're looking to reinforce what we have in our current consortias rather than expand the number of consortias. So that we want to go from and add another 40 companies to our existing network consortias rather than add more consortia, so we maintain solid sustainability through the year. When we look at our individual contacts, we're talking really about a number of things: Target Online, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and our websites. We've added LinkedIn and Twitter in here according to our new social media manager, Jody, and we'll be tracking that. Some of you may or may not be aware that Heavens to Murgatroyd, Paul is now on Twitter. I have tweeted my first shot out there. Jody has got me taking these little fat fingers and punching them on these keys. So periodically you will be hearing from me if you want to join my little Twitter group, and we'll go from there. We are really going to be expanding the types of things we put out on LinkedIn as well as Twitter, so that we expand the communication ranks in our footprint, if you will. But you can also see from an overall touches standpoint that we have grown tremendously in terms of the amount of touches through the years, and we hope to continually make that. And of course, with the revamping of our website, we expect this to ramp up much more quickly. That's it for the scorecard. Pretty much that's it with regard to the governance and the material on the board. I guess I don't have much more to say, but except that I think that welcome to those of you who are new to our regional boards. We thank you very much for your commitment to AME, its vision, and its goals. This is truly an exciting organization to work with and for, and we are bent on making an impact in manufacturing. And truly, it is not just words. When we say we were looking for a renaissance, a manufacturing renaissance, we believe it, and we believe it's accomplishable, and we have a great number of individuals that are committed and passionate about achieving that goal. So if you have any other questions, please send them in. By the way, we will be having an additional onboarding webcast in approximately 6 months. We have decided that we're going to be doing 2 a year so that we can answer questions and also bring any additional new board members up to speed, and also cover those board members who may not have been able to join us on this call. At this point in time, I see there's 26 out of our 101 that have joined us. So we have a few out there that may not have been able to join us. So we'll be doing this again in approximately 4 to 6 months. And we'll let everybody know when. Dale, have you got any other comments, final comments?
Paul, just to thank you for everybody's time. And I echo your comments that this is a very exciting time
in manufacturing.
And just look forward to meeting and working with each of you.
Jerry, do we have any other questions?
No, we do not.
All right, well, thank you all again. As Dale said, thank you for your time, and Well, good luck in a successful 2014.